Hey, what up? It's Quinn Chess, and welcome to the English Defense by Cicero Chess Player, a German, but he's playing the English. And we are on for some interesting chess. I used to play this opening. I actually debuted this opening in 2022 um, when I was uh, playing at the Niagara Falls Open. This is a tournament hosted by my some of my local chess people back when I lived in Buffalo, New York. So I actually just recorded a puzzle solve. It was a really nice solve too. It was like a 2500 level puzzle, but I realized my mic wasn't working because I was um, recording with a blue snowball. I was testing a blue snowball yesterday, and uh, I ended up unplugging it because my computer's microphone is like better. So then sorry, having trouble thinking and like playing at the same time. Then I unplugged the Blue Snowball because I was like, all right, I'll just stick with my computer's microphone. And then, as it turns out, I the setting was still set to the Blue Snowball, so it didn't register um, the sound properly. So if we take here, takes and he takes these winning materials. So we gotta do something else here. Let's go a6 with the idea of playing b5. This is a very strange opening that I'm choosing to employ here, but I just want to get all my ducks in a row so I can play uh, d5 here. And knight b6 might not work because bishop can take. So I don't know about that. Let's play d5 because we can now take on this square and get a pawn back if we allow him to capture momentarily. So let's give that a try. Hope you guys are doing well today. It is Boxing Day in Canada and all the other Commonwealth nations of the United Kingdom. That's what I read on Wikipedia or ChatGPT, one of the super helpful apps that people use. And ooh, my bishop is almost trapped here on that square. Maybe I was a little bit too ambitious, but I think I can just play a5 and then my bishop is defended, but I'm dropping this pawn. Kind of have to get my priorities straight here. And then the question is my bishop doing a lot on the a on the a6 a3 square, or do I want to pivot it back to b4 instead? So he's got a knight in the game now, and his knight can hop to d6 and threaten our bishop. But let's start by hacking off this pawn right here. As knight can go here, but then we can just take on d5. So I'm not super concerned about that. And then he's ending up with a isolated pawn on d3. So I like this position that we've managed to get out of the opening. Um, if he goes bishop d2 or something like that, we could even entertain a trade. Not super concerned about that. So he does go knight there. Let's continue with our plan of taking on d5. I'll just pre-move the recapture. And then we can start harassing his knight a little bit. I was trying to select it and then I canceled the pre-move. Okay, so he goes knight to. He's trying to get rid of his his isolated pawn. I don't know if we want to do that for him. On the other hand, if we do get rid of the the isolated pawn, um, his bishop is going to be stuck on g2, and it's looking kind of bad for him. So maybe we do want that for him. Let's not spend all day on this move, although it is, I think, a very consequential move. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and try that. And then I'm going to play the bishop to c4 and eye this knight. And then I'm going to try to trade down to an endgame because we are up a pawn. We have a passed a pawn. His bishop is staring at absolutely nothing on on e4, and we can put our knight on a better square, maybe to like c5 or something. Okay, so he's attacking our bishop. That's fine. We can simply pull it back. Let's pull it back to b5 and continue hitting this knight. and then also defend our knight on d7. Although we don't need that defense for forever because we can just move the knight out of the way. So the knight can go to, okay, so he's trying to free up the center, which is totally a viable strategy, but there's not much going on the queen side for him to be staring at. I'm fine with allowing him to push or take. Let's offer a trade of rooks. Just want to trade off as much material as possible. And he's got to be careful here because rook takes c1. Okay, so he does take. He's got to watch out for his knight on e2. Doesn't want to hang that piece. So he goes ahead and defends the knight, which is a good move. Let's try knight to c5. Hop the pony in, as sadistic Tushar would say. I don't know if anybody watches sadistic Tushar. I find him to be very entertaining to watch, even though he's not a title player. I think he's an arena grandmaster. Even though he's not like a over-the-board title player, he gets a lot of credibility from me because he's always verbalizing all of his moves. I try to actually emulate him. And I find watching his videos to be very helpful for my play because I can, listen to exactly what's going on in his head. Even when he's thinking, he's like talking out loud. So I really do enjoy watching his channel. And we're up a little bit on the time position here. And his queen is going to threaten to take on e5. But we're not concerned about that because we can just hop our pony into d3. And now we're hitting this rook on f2. And then we can maybe play our queen in the game somewhere to try to dominate the position, or we can play the rook to d8. That's also possible. The pressure is on him to create some counterplay because if we can get the queens traded off, we're the ones who are looking at a winning endgame. So he's the one who's got to try to free up his pieces and get more active. It was good trading off this a8 rook because his bishop was looking at that square, and we were worried about some like discovered attacks that are no longer a problem in the moment. Okay, so he plays his rook to f3. Let's go ahead and play rook d8. Just want to rapid fire these moves, keep up the time pressure that we have. He can take on e5 now, but the pawn is easily recuperated, so we're not concerned about that. And he's got to activate his pieces. I think I like queen e6 potentially as the next move from my side. And then if I can start pushing this pawn, as soon as I have everything kind of configured the way that I want it, I can start advancing the pawn. Okay, so he does go takes. And now if we just put our queen on e6, let's get that move off quickly. Try not to overthink too much. The pawn on e4 is also undefended at the moment. Just want to keep that in mind. So we have, potentially playing bishop c6 idea. So he's going to hop in with his knight, but we can just take here with our queen, and I think we're looking pretty. And then if he takes, we'll just pre-move the capture with our knight. I have lost quite a few rating points. I went 4 out of... Oh, he just hung his queen straight up. I went 4 out of 5 losses the other day, the other couple of days. So I only played 3 games a day. And that was really painful. Okay, so he's gonna put his rook there. I think I can even trade, right? If I take here, he takes back with the bishop, and then I can take here with the bishop, and I get a rook and a knight for a queen. That looks pretty good to me. Let's just get more material off the board. And then we can take this knight. Oh, that was a trade. Oh, I blundered that. We actually lost some material on that exchange, but it was a good simplification. Okay, he's deciding not to trade, which is fine. And let's just start marching our pawn down the board for a queen. We're up 6 points of material, and we have a queen on the way. New baby being born on the A1 square. Another thing I noticed about Sadistic Tushar is he talks a lot of smack, which, um, as a good sportsman, I used to play Ultimate Frisbee, and like a big part of Ultimate Frisbee was the spirit of the game. You have to respect the spirit of fairness. You have to play with um, consideration for your opponents, uh, playing with consideration of their safety and um, all of those good things. And so I've always been very aware of that. But no harm, no foul. I'm just talking about the game on my own channel, so it's not like they can even hear me. So let's go ahead and crush. Let's crush. Okay, so he goes bishop to e5. He's got no rooks, no checkmate threats. We're gonna commit to promoting the pawn. I don't even want to allow him to sacrifice a bishop right now. And we're gonna give him a check, and then the queen is coming in. New child has been born. Let it be known. And bishop checks. Queen is gonna give another check on h4 or a4. And he's gonna be running away, and we'll have a forced checkmate here coming up very soon, depending on where he decides to go with the king. He decides to go to f5. We'll give him a quick move, a quick break from the checks as we win his f3 bishop with a pin, and not let him run too far away from us. He's gonna probably run to this square. Let's see, how do we want to do this? We can give a check like this, and then we'll just start laddering this way. Okay, he decides to go there. Give a check here, and then the bishop is going to come in and deliver what is close to the final blow. Rook to d8 coming up, rook king to d8, and then that's checkmate. Okay, let's give that a review from the computer. Let's switch to analysis mode. Does that work? Okay, so we scored 85.9% at a 1950 rating, so a very strong game. Let's take a look at where the computer has some suggestions for us. So the English with G3, I think that's the Catalan opening, or is that with D4? Let me look that up real quick. It's been a while. Okay, the Catalan is with D4. So the C4, the C4 with G3, but I didn't play E5. Although I did play E5 later. So it could have been like a reverse Sicilian dragon or something like that. So knight D6 was a mistake. And I decided to take there. I can't take on D6 with the bishop because that hangs the B7 bishop. But we do get a pawn out of it. And these moves are all liked by the computer. It didn't like this knight move, but it didn't stop on that. It liked knight to d3, and here the computer is giving us -5, so we're doing quite well. And here we missed a tactic. Let's see where we went wrong with that. Knight to e1. Okay, we're gonna have to analyze this a little bit deeper because these moves by the computer are kind of crazy. So it's saying, let's see. No, queen to e6, right? Okay, so it's saying knight to e1. A strong discovery. Oh, with a discovery on e2. But why does he have to sacrifice his rook on f7? I'm a little bit confused by that. Let's go to the analysis. Knight to e1. Okay, so first of all, what's wrong with rook to f2? Rook to f2, and we have knight to c2, forking the queen and the bishop on e3. That's just brutal. So he doesn't want to fall into that. So this move is threatening all sorts of things because it's also threatening the e2 knight, which is currently undefended. And if he takes with the queen, he loses the queen to the bishop. So a very weird looking move, hopping the knight all the way to the opponent's back rank. But some of these tactics become available when you have a strong knight that's penetrated so far into the enemy position. And that's one of the reasons, in addition to the passed pawn, why we have such an advantage in this position is because of that deeply penetrating knight. That sounded a lot worse than I intended. Rook takes f7 is the move that's recommended after queen to e1, with the idea that if king takes, then he can play knight to f4, and then if queen c2 or knight c2 here, queen b1, knight takes e3. So he's losing even more material in that case. So I don't understand why he has to sacrifice the rook. Wasn't that one of the moves that it gave? Let's take a look. Yeah, it says to sacrifice the rook. That's just weird. It said it should do that, but then if I look at the actual analysis, it's not suggesting that as one of the top moves. So anyways, the main takeaway here is that we gain a tempo from attacking the rook, and then now we're threatening knight c2, and we're threatening the knight on e2, so we're winning some material. Let's just go with that as a conclusion. So queen e6 wasn't quite strong enough given the positional edge that we had. We had some tactics in the air. But then knight to f4 was a mistake that kind of gave us the advantage back. And he hangs his queen on a1, which is understandable because he's under so much pressure in this position. He had to trade off the queens, but trading off the queens is bad too because, you know, the pawn's promoting on the a file. And after we have the queen in hand, it's just an easy pawn promotion to victory. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I just realized that there's this current rating box here. I didn't mean to show that on the screen. I was doing puzzles before, so I was showing that. So sorry about that. But yeah, hope you guys have had a good holiday. I'm playing a over-the-board chess tournament tomorrow. It's going to be a rapid tournament, game 30. And I'll be recording my moves. If I find anything interesting about that tournament, any cool games, I'll come on the channel and share with you guys. Start off a new Road to 2000 series on this channel with my over-the-board United States Chess Federation rating, now that I've moved to a town that actually has its own chess club. Very excited about that. So hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe. If you're going out to a party or to a bar or a nightclub, make sure you have a dedicated driver who's not going to be drunk. Try not to get super wasted. And I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.